Alright, number 34 is telling us to take cosine of 2.3. That would be 2.3 radians because there's no unit measure marked on the 2.3, so that's understood radians times secant of 2.3. The directions say use an identity to find the value of each expression. Do not use a calculator. So they're wanting you to use a reciprocal identity. Cosine and secant are reciprocals of each other. We have the same angle measure here, so anytime we multiply cosine of an angle times secant of another angle, it's like we're multiplying inverses together or multiplying reciprocals together. When we do that, we actually get the number 1. Alright, so you could actually think of something that you've done in the past, and you could think of something like 4/5 times its reciprocal would always give you a 1. So cosine and secant are reciprocals, and when you multiply them together and they have the same angle measure, they actually just give you a product of 1 there. Number 36 is asking you to take sine squared of pi over 3 plus cosine squared of pi over 3, and they're asking you to find the value of this without your calculator. So we have one of our identities. It says sine squared of an angle plus cosine squared of the same angle is equal to 1. So sine squared of pi over 3 plus cosine squared of pi over 3, as long as the angles are the same, and they will be, that's always equal to 1. 38 is asking us to take cosecant squared of an angle minus cotangent squared of the same angle. And this goes with another one of our identities, and that identity says, it says 1 plus cotangent squared of an angle is equal to cosecant squared of the same angle. So I know to use this identity because 38 has cosecant and cotangent in it. So if I manipulate the equation a little bit and I send cotangent over to the right-hand side, I get 1 is equal to cosecant squared of t minus cotangent squared of t, the same angle. So what I'm looking at is really what my problem is. It doesn't really matter that I have pi over 6's, it just matters that I have cosecant squared of an angle minus cotangent squared of another angle, and that's going to be equal to the value of 1. Next set of directions ask us to find the exact value of each trig function, and it's asking us not to use a calculator. So they're asking us to find cosecant of 9 pi over 4. So what I would do is I would change 9/4 to a mixed number, and the mixed number for 9/4 would be 2 1/4 pi. And I would think unit circle here, and 2 pi would be all the way around, and then I have to go 1/4 pi, so that would put me right here at this point. That would put me at a 45, and that point would have an ordered pair of square root of 2 over 2, comma square root of 2 over 2. And they're asking me for the cosecant of that point, 9 pi over 4. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, and sine is the y value. So take the y value of that point, take its reciprocal. Its reciprocal is going to be 2 over the square root of 2. We can't leave a square root in the denominator, so we're going to rationalize. We're going to get 2 square root of 2 over 2. The 2's are going to cancel. And the cosecant of 9 pi over 4 is just the square root of 2. Still underneath the same directions, we're looking at number 42. They're asking us to find the secant of negative 9 pi over 4. So again, 9/4 is an improper fraction, so I'm going to convert that into a mixed number. That's going to be negative 2 1/4 pi. I'm going to think unit circle here. I'm going to rotate all the way around negative 2 pi. Going clockwise here because my angle's negative. And then I'm going to rotate to 45 degrees. So this is 45 degrees. So I'm thinking about this point right here. which has an ordered pair of, it's at 45 degrees, even though my angle's not perfect there. So that would be, that point would have an x-coordinate of square root of 2 over 2 and a y-coordinate of negative square root of 2 over 2. And we are doing secant. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cosine is x. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cosine is x. That's right. So the reciprocal of square root of 2 over 2 is 2 over square root of 2. Rationalize. I'm getting 2 square root of 2 over 2. This just comes out like the last one. That didn't always happen, but it happened for those two. Now, for some reason, I have negative square root of 2. So I don't know if I've made a mistake the first time or made a mistake this time. We'll talk about it tomorrow in class. Let's look at number 44. 44 is asking us to find cotangent of 5 pi over 4. So we are going to use our unit circle. 5 pi over 4 would rotate to this point right here. And that ordered pair would have an x value of negative square root of 2 over 2 and a y value of negative square root of 2 over 2. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, and tangent is y over x. So both of these x and y's are the same value, so you're actually just going to divide them. Cotangent is actually x over y. Doesn't really matter in this specific point because the x and the y both have the same value. So if you do x divided by y, that's going to give you the value of 1. All right, last set of directions. They're asking us to, same set of directions actually. We're going to look at number 48. They're asking us to do negative cotangent pi over 4 plus 17 pi. So what you need to know about this negative sign is it means whatever we get for the cotangent of pi over 4 plus 17 pi, we're going to multiply it by a negative. So just hold on to that negative and we'll work this problem. So think unit circle, find pi over 4. Pi over 4 is going to be right here. All right. If we add 17 pi, if we add an odd pi, it's actually going to, we can do the rotation here several times, but if we add an odd pi, it's going to put us in the opposite quadrant. If we add an even pi, it's going to put us in the same exact spot. So if we add 7 pi, we're actually going to end up over here. All right, if you don't believe me, you can do 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi, 10 pi, 12 pi, 14 pi, 16 pi, and 17 pi would end you up right there. So adding an odd pi is just going to put you in diagonally the opposite spot as far as the quadrant. So if you're in first quadrant and you add an odd pi, it's going to put you in third quadrant. If you're in second quadrant and you add an odd pi, it's going to put you in the fourth quadrant. If you add an even pi, if you add an even pi, it's going to put you in the same location. So it's putting us right here. That point is negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. They're asking us to find cotangent. Cotangent is x over y. So if I divide the x by the y, that's negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2. That's a positive 1. And then this negative actually comes down, and my answer will be negative 1. All right, one last problem and we'll be finished. Number 52. We're doing cosine of negative pi over 4 minus 2,000 pi. So we can be adding or we can be subtracting. It really doesn't matter. If we're adding and we're subtracting an even number of pi's, then that always puts us back at the same exact point. All right, so we're subtracting 2,000 pi. 2,000 pi is even. So if we think about where negative pi over 4 would be located, it would be located in the fourth quadrant. That ordered pair is positive square root of 2 over 2, comma negative square root of 2 over 2. even if we subtracted negative 2,000 pi, which we would not want to do, since 2,000 pi is negative, it would actually put us back in the same exact spot. So they're asking us for the cosine of that point, and the cosine of that point is the x value, and the x value at that point would be square root 2 over 2. All right, thank you.